6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dilini Gunawardana, assisted by Sanjay, and read by Geethanjali Ramnayaka. The headlines. India assures assistance to continue the mid- and long-term plans of the government for economic progress. The implementation of the program introduced by the IMF would result in economic sustainability in the island. Plans are underway to promote exports between Sri Lanka and China. Proposals for CEB restructuring are to be presented to the Cabinet next week. The resettlement of the public in the northern and eastern provinces will be completed within the next 5 years. In foreign news, Israel pounds Gaza as soldiers skirmish with Hamas. Sports Cricket World Cup, the match between Pakistan and Afghanistan, is currently underway in Chennai. News in detail. International Monetary Fund Executive Director Dr. Krishnamurthy Subramaniam met Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardana at the Temple Trees today. Bilateral discussions were held on the agreed programs. Dr. Subramaniam assured that India will provide the necessary assistance to continue the mid- and long-term plans of the government in order to achieve economic progress of the island. The Prime Minister elaborated on the plans that are currently underway in this regard. He further explained the progress of the welfare benefit scheme for the underprivileged people, in which the financial assistance is directly credited to the bank accounts of the beneficiaries. State Minister Shahan Semasinga says that implementation of the program introduced by the IMF would result in economic sustainability in the island. The reforms that are currently underway are setting the background for this achievement. The State Minister expressed these views at a discussion organised by the Colombo Chamber of Commerce. The issues faced by the members of the food industry were taken into discussion in the event. Sri Lanka is currently overcoming the economic crisis. The IMF has provided the reforms required by the country so that Sri Lanka will not face any other economic crisis in the future. He further added that the reliability of the businesses should be upheld by minimizing corruption, expanding the tax network, and digitization. Plans are underway to promote exports between Sri Lanka and China. A discussion in this regard was held between Minister of Trade Nalin Fernando and China's Commerce Minister Wang Wentao recently in Beijing. The minister the prospective free trade agreement between Sri Lanka and China. It was disclosed that the Chinese market would be expanded in order to promote the exports from Sri Lanka, including cinnamon and fish products. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting.
Cherished companion of microfinance banking, Samurdhi Community Bank.
Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara has revealed that the proposals pertaining to the restructuring of the Ceylon Electricity Board are due to be presented before the Cabinet of Ministers next week. State Minister of Finance Shahan Semasinga stated yesterday that measures are underway to expedite the procedure of restructuring public institutions. He pointed out that a restructuring program of loss-making state institutions is currently being carried out successfully in order to provide solutions to the current economic crisis. Earlier this year, it was discussed that the CEB would be in which the management structure of the CEB will undergo reforms so as to enable renewable energy generation to be promoted within Sri Lanka with the support of the government, private and public partnerships. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposed roadmap and timeline of the Ceylon Electricity Board restructuring process in last April. Minister Prasanna Rantunga says that the resettlement of people in the northern and eastern provinces will be completed within the next 5 years. So far, 917,143 people of 274,120 families have already been resettled in these areas. 1,701 families are yet to be resettled. The minister disclosed this at the laying of the foundation stone for the second phase of the Kuwait Sakath village, which consists of 124 houses situated in Erukalampatti Manna. And that ends local news for now.
Your closest ally in microfinance banking. The front runner in uplifting low-income households. Extending a hand to those aspiring to thrive. Your very own financial institution, Samurdhi Community Bank. with a presence of 1,089 branches throughout the island. Your closest ally in microfinance banking. Your steadfast financial partner, Samurdhi Community Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
In the main news story, Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sri Ratnayaka says that the lack of political literacy of the public in the island is a social issue. Political literacy is being withdrawn from the education system. He further added that the Election Commission would gladly assist any interested researchers to do research on elections. He expressed these views at a press conference held at the Sri Lanka Foundation today. It was further emphasized that action would be taken to protect the right to franchise, including the minorities, transgender citizens and the differently abled. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
On to Watchlight. The general public has been cautioned over the increased spread of 3 infectious diseases in the island as a result of the prevailing inclement weather conditions. Public has been warned of the spread of eye diseases, diarrhea and respiratory diseases often associated with high body temperatures and are therefore urged to take all possible precautionary measures while also paying attention to their personal health habits. Speaking further in this regard, Chairman of the Public Health Inspectors Union, Upul Rohana, emphasized that personal hygiene plans are an integral role in controlling the spread of these illnesses. And that came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to a bulletin of world news. Israel pounds Gaza as soldiers skirmish with Hamas. Argentina's Peronist sow in election to seal runoff with radical Milei. And India says it will resume Canada visas if diplomats are safe. Israel bombarded Gaza with more airstrikes today as its soldiers fought Hamas militants on the ground in raids with the besieged Palestinian enclave. Residents said in signs that the conflict was spreading. Israeli aircraft also struck between southern Lebanon overnight and Israeli troops fought Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. The United Nations said desperate civilians were running out of food, water and places to shelter from the unrelenting aerial pounding that has flattened swathes of Hamas-ruled Gaza. Argentina's ruling Peronist coalition smashed expectations to lead the country's general election yesterday, setting the stage for a polarized runoff vote next month between Economy Minister Sergio Massa and far-right libertarian radical Javier Milei. Massa had 36.6% of the vote, ahead of Milei on just over 30%, while conservative Patricia Bullrich was behind on 23.8%, with near 98% of the vote counted, a result that defied pre-election polls that had predicted a libertarian win. Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar has said India will resume issuing visas to Canadian citizens if it sees progress in the safety of the diplomats there. India had stopped visa services in September, saying that security threats were disrupting work at its missions in Canada. The two countries are in the midst of a row over the murder of a Sikh separatist leader in Canada. Ottawa has said earlier that it takes safety of diplomats very seriously, but it has not responded to India's specific allegations about threats to its diplomats in Canada. Back to the headlines of the world news. Israel pounds Gaza as soldiers skirmish with Hamas. Argentina's Peronists sow in election to seal runoff with radical Milei. And India says it will resume Canada visas if diplomats are safe. And that ends world news.
Development News.
Sri Lanka Gem and Jewellery Association, together with National Gem and Jewellery Authority and Export Development Board, unveiled Facets Sri Lanka 2024, scheduled to be held at Cinnamon Grand, Colombo from the 6th to the 8th of January 2024. Speaking at the AGM, President of the SLGJA, Ajwad Dean, stated that association has dedicated substantial efforts to implementing a series of strategic initiatives with the aim of elevating and enhancing the industry. By adhering to steadfast to ethical mining standards, the association aims to empower miners to augment gem production and explore new mines in a sustainable and responsible manner. And that is development news.
Sports news is brought to you by Shakti. Refresh your mind and body. Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
On to sports news. The 22nd cricket match of the World Cup 2023 is currently underway in Chennai between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Winning the toss, Pakistan chose to bat first and in the end of 50 overs scored 282 runs for 7 wickets. And that was sports news.
Shakti. Refresh your mind and body. Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
Go ekakthiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Rapid Adventures Sri Lanka is celebrating yet another remarkable victory, having secured the prestigious Leading Destination Promoter Award at the South Asian Travel Awards 2023. The grand ceremony held at the Sheraton Grand Bengaluru, India, recently witnessed an assembly of travel and tourism industry leaders, influencers and professionals from across South Asia. The South Asian Travel Awards is an esteemed platform that annually recognizes the exceptional contributions and outstanding services in the South Asian travel and tourism industry. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru account. NSB IM, a plan.
On to economic news. According to the Department of Census and Statistics, the overall rate of inflation as measured by the National Consumer Price Index on a year-on-year basis has dropped to 0.8% in September 2023 from 2.1% in August 2023. Meanwhile, food inflation has increased to minus 5.2% in September 2023 from 5.4% in August 2023. Issuing the NCPI for the month of September 2023, the Director General of Census and Statistics said that headline inflation, as measured by the year-on-year change based on the NCPI, has been complied as 0.8%. And that was economic news.
Weather report.
Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in most of the provinces in the island after 1 p.m. tomorrow. Showers may occur in coastal areas, southern provinces during the morning. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, Uva and north central provinces. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces during the morning. And that was the weather report. Prior to concluding this news broadcast, the headlines once again. India assures assistance to continue the mid- and long-term plans of the government for economic progress. The implementation of the program introduced by the IMF would result in economic sustainability in the island. Plans are underway to promote exports between Sri Lanka and China. Proposals for CEB restructuring are to be presented to the Cabinet next week. The resettlement of the public in the northern and eastern provinces will be completed within the next 5 years. Foreign news, Israel pounds Gaza as soldiers skirmish with Hamas. Sports Cricket World Cup, the match between Pakistan and Afghanistan is currently underway in Chennai. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, and it's back to Mariela Vandot on the other side to keep you entertained this Monday evening. Over to you, Mariela.